Now I've laid this down here, and I'm going to just take chalk and try to draw what it is. Okay, now I got to keep my fat head out of there, don't I? A rough estimate of what I want it to look like. It looks like it's going to come around here. Pull that down a little bit. Not too bad. Let me dress this up a little bit. Okay, this is a rough rendition of what we're going to do, right? Put this guy over it. I think we're close enough to create our piece. We can see that this side will go a little bit more. So what we're going to do is we're going to measure. Now, if that's going to be a rough estimate of what we're going to do, I've got some solder here, right? Keep trying to keep my head out of the picture, huh? I've got some solder here. Bendable, flexible, right? And I'm just going to lay it in here like this. Come right on around, right? And I can see what I got here. All right? And I'm just going to go ahead and mark it right there. Now I can straighten this out. And I can see now, when I measure it, I've got 7.5 inches of material. Now this was the side I liked the best. So we're going to take this one. And we're going to bring it around. Mark it. And I have about 3.5 inches. So we know we're going to need a bar that's 7.5, 3.5, and 3.5. Now we got an inspector there. Hey, little guy. What do you think? I got you. So in all, we're going to need 14.5 inches for this piece here. Now, I'm going to be drawing those ends out a little bit. Either one, I want those to taper. And this, when it gets folded over, it's going to taper a little bit as well. So I'm going to take a big chance here, and I'm going to remove at least a quarter from that 14.5 inches to go to 14.25, and let's lay it out. Something else I've found, and I've done this a few times, and of course, our total length is whatever. And if you'll notice that the half of the total length is this part here, and then a quarter of it is here, and a quarter of it is here. And I've found that whenever I do these, no matter what size they go to, it usually comes out that way, that half of the material is here and a quarter and a quarter. So you can actually base it on, you find this dimension here, and I bet you could safely run with it from that point. So I've cut a piece of metal. Here's the center line. I measured out my spacing for my 3 pieces. I'm going to go ahead and mark them with a center punch now. I'm going to give it 2 marks here, 2 marks here, and then we can go ahead and heat it up and bend it. But first, before we bend it, we're going to draw the ends out on both of these, okay? Just draw them out, just taper a little bit. I like to put 2 dots in there simply because then I can see it better. And I'm sure that those are the marks I put in. Yeah. So let's just draw that out just a little bit. I want that to come to a little bit of a taper. It doesn't take much, does it? There we are. Actually, pretty good. It flared a little bit. That's going to be nice. I like that. Do the other end. Right there it is. Just like the other one. Good brushing. Okay. You can still see the lines, the 2 dots that I had put in there. Now, before I go bending it over at that point, it's been my experience that anytime you bend a piece over onto itself, I always score a line on the outside of where that bend's going to be. I will always score a line with a chisel. Sometimes only lightly. In this case, probably only lightly. But I never just fold a piece over on itself. I found that when you do score the line, you have a much cleaner, accurate bend and fold. And we're going to tap that just ever so lightly after we brought that around. We'll just bring it up to a welding temperature and just hit it with a small hammer just to kind of set that spot. Okay? So I'm going to go ahead and put a chisel line right there before we bend it over. There we go. So I can see those 2 dots clearly right there. So I'm just going to put a line in here. Not very deep. Walking that across. But that's going to say right where the bend is going to be. It's going to be exactly there. And it'll be nice, crisp area where it bends. Just a simple line. So here, while you can see what's going on before it gets all red hot, I will bring it down into the vise to that line is there, right? And then I can bend it at a 90 to start the fold over. It'll be folded all the way over on itself. Now, of course, I will be doing it the other way. It'll be on this side because I want to bend it forward, but you can't see the camera back there to see that line, so I thought I would show it to you here, right there. And then we'll bend it. But of course it'll be this way, and I will bend it down to a 90. Okay, so we get it in there, and just bringing it around. That line helps you see it a lot better too. There you can see we've got it nicely started there. And the line's right in the center. Okay, so I'll bring it the rest of the way around. Yep, it's coming right around where I want it to be. Exactly. Perfect. Just what I want. Now I'm going to take my smallest hammer and we're going to get that up to welding temperature, and I'm just going to tap it. Just enough to kind of stick it there. It really doesn't need it, and then draw a little bit of a point. Not much, but it helps, I think. Now when that gets into the black heat, I'm going to go ahead and quench it in water real quick just to kill the borax that's in it, the white borax. And then I'll turn around and I'll do the other side the same way. So here's our piece, both ends folded and welded a little bit. Ready for the next step. I want to talk about that. Now here we have our piece. And what we're going to do next is we're going to heat this end up and hold it in a vise while we open these pieces up a little bit, because what we're wanting to create is one large arch here with two smaller arches, okay, on either side. And now you would be tempted, I know I was originally, to think that you want to get this really hot right here, almost to a white hot, right? So when you pull this apart, it will bend easily without putting too much force on that welded spot on the tip right here, all right? But that's not the case. Here's an example of the same kind of activity where I've forge welded this together here, right? And then drew it out to a point and then pulled the weld back apart to create these two arches as they go on into scrolls. What I found was, if this isn't so hot, in fact, take this all the way to the black, not black heat, but into a red, dark red heat, okay, and then pull it apart, there's enough resistance to create a beautiful arch. If you do it at the white heat, what's going to happen is it'll bend real quickly right there, and you'll get a kink right there. And it's the worst place you can have a kink, and you'll never get it out. And you'll never get that beautiful gracefulness of that curve. So, of course, this will go into the vise and get pinched right here, right? And then you'll start to spread those two out carefully, slowly, and in a dark red heat. In fact, when I was doing these, what I found, because I had to make a whole lot of these, I would forge weld that, draw it to a point, brush it, and then, almost before it was going into a black heat, just the opposite than what I would have thought, then I would just grab it and pull it apart, and I got those beautiful arches going right to that thing. So, for me anyway, it was just the opposite than what I thought. But, let's see what happens. Okay, so I'm just going to put it in here, just the tip of that into the vise. Alright? Just the tip of that into there. And see, I'm not in a big hurry. And I'm just going to pull these out a little bit. I don't need to go a long ways. I'll get the rest of that curve later.
I just want to get it started and started right without it being a kink and without it coming apart. Very good. See? Now I'll brush it and we'll do the other side. Ever so carefully. I don't need a lot of bend here, just enough to get started. I think we're there. I think we're right where we were the other one. Maybe a little bit more here. Not bad. Very good. Very good. Get a good grip of it there. Okay. Start that curve around, okay? Now I'll start from the other side. Get right around. Very nice. If you have a bending wrench, use it. They do wonders. All right. We'll take that off and see how it is. So over the horn, let's just bring this guy around a bit. Okay? And then we're going to make the whole thing kind of come together. Whoops! You don't ever do that, do you? Drop a piece? Okay. It's actually getting to the point where it's a little awkward to hold, huh? That's coming right around nicely. Oh yeah, I like that. I like what I'm seeing. Those will have to get closed up even more, I'm sure. But, there we go. Come over here to my piece and test fit it. It's getting close. Won't take much now. Now just a little bit more tweaking here on the horn. I can see. Need to open it up just a little bit right there. Oh, just a little bit. Not much. I like how it's fitting. Just needs this little bit right here. Watch this. Very good. Very good. That's better. Oh yeah, that's going to work. Okay. Let's cool it down and set it in there. See how it looks. But not bad, eh? Well, now I am very pleased with that. It actually sticks right in place without, on its own right now. Look at that. Very pleased with that. Now if I had wanted to, I could have had more material on these pieces here, so I could have curled them around. I could have curled them around a bit, you know. But I like that right there. Also, you notice I'm coming away from the top a little bit. This won't touch the top. Now I'd love to install it right now, but I can't because we have to wait. There it is. I like that. It's pretty nice, huh? It has a good look to it. The whole thing has a good look to it. So I have to wait till I put this through the top. This will come through, see, and we'll peen it. We'll cut it off and we'll peen it on. This is the top part of the andiron that's going straight up. So after that is done, then I will drill 2 holes here and here, and we will put rivets in there to hold this thing right here in place. Whoops. Right here in place, something like that. That'll probably get pushed down a little bit, but we can get that all in place later. That'll come down through. Now, yeah, we could go all the way through into that if it's something you wanted to do. I personally, I'm just going to come through, peen it real good, then put this guy on. Very happy with that. All right. Sweet, huh? All right. So the next thing we have to start working on is going to be our upright. Our upright that comes up from this thing here now. So that's the next thing we're going to be working on. First of all, first thing we'll do is we're going to forge a tenon on the end of a 1-inch square bar. That will be what we start with. So I'll see you then.